Welcome, everybody, back to Field to Table. I am your steady as a rock host. I'm always here. I'm never not here, except I will not be here in like a month and a half. I got stuff to do. I got places to be, so I won't be here. But until then, my reign is supreme in that I am the most steady appearance of this entire show. Thanks for coming back and seeing me once again. And today, got Mr. Michael Hoffman.
Hello.
He's done. All right. So, Field to Table, welcome back. We launch episodes every Friday. And now that we have grown our team even more over the summertime, we can get even more clips and promos and teasers and gotchas and all the fun stuff out to you guys. So look for that on our Instagram handle thing. I don't know what it's called. But all these episodes are on YouTube as well. So all the clicks and the buttons and the subscribes and the bells and the whistles and all that thing, that all helps. I mean, we all know by now what it does by now. And if anybody has anything that you want us to talk about, I keep saying this, I'm going to keep saying it until I actually start getting them, is I want some funny stories. I want to retell funny stories on this podcast. So please email me those stories to podcast@fieldpulse.com. Please send them. And I'll even put sprinkle a little bit extra on top.
See, I wish you had told me that before, because my dad was, he had a construction company, like general contracting, for like 30 years. And I'm sure he's got some stories, but I don't remember any of them because I was like probably 7 or 8 when I'd go with him. So
text him the email and tell him to just email him in.
Yeah, I know, but I wanted to tell him.
Huh?
I would like to tell him, I should have asked him beforehand. But that's okay.
But what if I'm funnier than you?
I think that's up for debate.
Okay.
I'm the one that makes you laugh a lot. I say that you're the one that sends me 70 Instagram messages a day with fucking videos and stuff.
I get some gold on Instagram. I think I've got the algorithm figured out where it knows the darkest depths and crevices of Instagram to show me, because the stuff that comes across, I don't even know how people make this stuff.
Dude, what's even funnier than some of the actual videos is the comments. Oh my God, dude. I won't go into every detail of like what's said, but like there's a video, Tom Segura's talked about it, and there's a girl, she's like the most normal looking girl you've seen, and she just says like really bad dad jokes. People will be like, they'll say some pretty inappropriate things.
It gets very inappropriate in her comment section. And I know what you're talking about. And it is
like, I want to feel bad, but I every time I see her video, I'm like, comments. I don't even listen. I don't even listen to like what her videos. I'm like, I'm sure it's funny. I just want to see what people are putting in there. So
Mr. Michael Hoffman,
yes, sir.
Your first appearance or gracing our presence here in studio with all the lights on and the cool stuff going.
Yeah.
Tell both people listening to this what you do here.
So I am part of our partnerships team. I handle all of what we call non-supplier partners. So we have 2 sides. We have our suppliers, and that's like Reese, Morsco, Carrier, all that good stuff. And then we have non-suppliers, and that goes to like business coaches, marketing firms, integrations to kind of enhance the product on the back end type stuff. And I handle all those kind of outreach, conversations, and ongoing relationships. So we dissect it into the discovery part. Then we have a go-to-market activation plan, and then we have our ongoing relationships. So I find people like that and handle all those relationships.
Some personalities and podcasts that you've gotten me on. Some people I've gotten to meet and go film stuff with, and that's all cool and fun stuff.
Yeah. I think we have some of the best partners, and that's obviously biased, but from what I see working with them on a daily basis, it's really nice where they aren't money grabbers, if that's the way to say it. It's like, hey, look, like, I obviously do have a coaching program where you can pay to grow your business, but there's a genuine concern and care to growing that person's business. And you can just pick that up when meeting them. But also, I've been working with some of these guys for like a year and a half at this point, and it's nice to see that. I feel like we live in a day and age where it's like, let's just try to cheap out and make as much money as we possibly can. Whereas a lot of the people, I'd say everybody that I work with is far more concerned about, the customer, the client than anything else and their success. So that's
Yeah,
cool.
I gotta say from my perspective of being doing all the things that I've done in my life, and also being at the point where I am now of just in my life, I've seen that come full circle, I think.
Mm,
And I've talked about it before, and I've talked about it on other podcasts with other people where it's a theme that's thrown around with, in this industry of grow your business, grow your business, grow your business.
hmm
I think there's a little asterisk besides that, because I know people personally, and I was not one of these people, but this is other people that I know who grew their businesses,
hmm
and then their business outgrew them, and they got very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so then they scale back down their business to make it make sense.
Right.
And so grow your business doesn't always mean more trucks, more people. It
Yeah.
means like have a better team around you.
Well,
And so just to your point about
yeah.
the money thing though, is like I've seen that rocket ship of business kind of take off,
hmm
and then people say, oh shit, this is
Yeah.
not what I wanted, and then they scale back down their business
hmm
and kind of just come back to a normal life,
Right.
and so that our partners, I've talked to most of them, they're just real people, and they
hmm
to your point of, they're not, everybody needs to make money, everybody has a family to feed,
Yeah.
everybody's got retirement one day, they need to make their money, but they're not
Mhm.
sellouts.
Right. And I think what I like a lot is that the guys that I work with, it's let's grow your business to where you want it to be.
Yeah.
Because there are people who will come in guns a blazing, and that's fine if you want to have a company that does $80 million a year. There's obviously nothing wrong with that. But a lot of the people, I would say majority of people are like, I want to be making a shit ton of money, but I still want to be able to feel like this is my company, my baby that
Mhm.
I'm going to take care of. And so it's like, how can I get to that point and then just kind of be comfortable with that and not, like you said, not feel like the company outgrows them, because then they're sitting there going like, well, now I feel like I have to sell it. And do I actually want to sell it? And they don't want to get rid of that. So yeah, a lot of the guys that we work with are really good at putting, systems in place that help them grow to a comfortable place that they want to be, to where they're like, I'm going to have a really sweet retirement. My family's going to be taken care of, and I can just pass it on to the next person.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I've like I said, the plumber and the electrician that I both know,
Mm,
they found their sweet spot between about 8 and about 11 guys.
yeah.
And both of them, they don't really work anymore. They
Yeah.
maintain the business, they run payroll, they,
Yeah.
check in whenever something kind of
Mhm.
happens, and talk to the customer to make smooth things over in relationships and
Mhm.
whatnot. And plumber stays at home with his daughter, very young daughter, and
Yeah.
the electrician, they hitch up their gigantic fifth wheel trailer to a dually, and they take off whenever they
Yeah.
want to. And
Yeah.
wife homeschools their son, and they live the life, and they do whatever they want to do. He's not, and the electrician in particular had at one time, I think he was upwards like high 30s, maybe 40 employees,
Mm.
and his wife gave him a choice,
Yeah.
and he chose his wife. So now he's
Yeah.
down to 11, 10, 11 really good guys that he
Yeah.
can trust. They drive trucks, they drive their vans, they drive him home. He doesn't have a shop. He
Yeah.
go do your thing, boys.
I think I mean, I'm 27, right? So I feel old, but I know I'm not old,
No,
right?
you're not.
I know. But I think I would be comfortable saying the majority of people who live in America nowadays, they kind of just want to be a little above comfortable when
Sure.
it comes to money. You know what I mean? Like if I started an HVAC company tomorrow, I'd want to get it to the point to where I could just spend a ton of time with my family, make sure my daily operations and weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever operations were in place. But I wouldn't want to be to the point where it's like my focus is only that business, and then going, oh crap, I haven't taken my wife out on a date in
Mm-hmm.
6 months, or oh, I haven't gone to church in a year because this is the only thing I do 24/7. I wouldn't want to, and I would say, I would think the majority of people are like that, where it's like, I just want to be to the point to where I have a good balance of my business is doing really well and I'm taking care of everything at home. And I think that's pretty tough to do, especially as a man, and not to be like whatever, but one of the best quotes I've ever heard was, um, what was it? It was like, if you are a man who is always around his family, then you aren't doing well providing. If the only thing you're doing is providing, then you aren't around your family enough. And it was basically just saying where if you're only worried about work, your family's going to suffer a little bit in the sense that you aren't ever around. Whereas if you're always around, you're probably not working as much as you should do to help take care of your family.
Mm.
And I think that's give or take for some people.
Or you get to a point in your life where you can kind of do whatever you want.
Well, I ain't that successful yet, so I can't do that. So
you'll get there.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
Well, that's enough about work. Let's talk about Shohei Ohtani. Have you been keeping up with his gambling accusations and what has come up? They finished the investigation, by the way, in case you didn't know.
So what happened what was the final outcome?
So the final outcome was his interpreter, who was also kind of his manager, but not his actual manager who negotiates his contract, and I don't want to call him his handler either, but he was a confidant. Let's put it that way. He was not just there for the job of interpreting either, because he had access to Shohei's bank accounts.
So kind of like a friend advisor and interpreter,
and let's call him an
thing.
advisor, and who just so happens to be bilingual, I guess. Let's call him that. I guess I don't know. A very strange relationship. And so he was just found guilty of fraud, and Shohei is completely off the hook for any wrongdoing.
Well, I mean, is he off the hook because they said that he didn't know he was doing that?
Shohei was completely unaware of this interpreter's.
Was he though? I mean,
the FBI says so. So
no, fuck the FBI. But no, I mean, so my thing is like, if that's 100%, if that's 100% true, then like fair play, fine. Because again, like if somebody's mishandling your money and you don't know that it's going on, then that's not your fault. I think what's crazy is, did you hear about that new guy from the Padres?
Oh yeah. He's banned for life.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's where it's different because he was doing it directly, whereas it was like somebody off of, Ohtani. Where if it was obviously directly Ohtani, then that's an awkward conversation because this guy for the Padres was good enough to be in the MLB, but not enough to be the face of the league like Ohtani is because you know what I mean. So I don't know. If he really had no idea what was going on, then fine. I think that happens every single day anyway. So fair enough. But I don't know. I think it's just going to be a little weird now because he's a good guy. But at the same time, I feel like if he goes to away stadiums, like there'll be some shithousery going on, with like people like holding signs like, did you bet on this game? Like if they lose or something like that. I don't know.
One thing I am unclear on is were they betting or was that guy betting on baseball games? Because I don't know if he was betting on baseball games. He might have just been betting on anything.
Yeah. Well, then, if he's just gambling on anything, then there shouldn't be an issue with that. But for the sake of him being in this much trouble, I would assume it was around baseball games. Because if he was betting on NFL games, then if he was doing it in a state that has that legally, then what are they going to do about that?
That's one thing that this report did notice is that wherever he was betting, sports betting, it was all legal. It was all above board. But
so then why did he get in so much trouble if he was?
Because it's fraud. Because he's stealing Ohtani's money to do it.
I'm still thinking it's like Ohtani. I'm still on the example of like if it's Ohtani doing it directly.
Okay,
then that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. So this interpreter he had access to Ohtani's accounts, bank accounts, and apparently he confessed all of this, that he even lied to and impersonated Shohei Ohtani to get access to the bank accounts because he knew all the passwords, he knew all the birthdays and the secret codes and like
confirm your social security number, and he would pretend to sound like him.
What's your little brother's middle name? Type questions. And so then he would log in, and then when financial advisors would call and want to get access to bank accounts and investments and this and that, this guy acted as Ohtani and denied their permission.
That's pretty bad.
So that's where this guy just went off the rails.
Yeah.
But apparently he stole upwards of $16 million.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'd like to, for the sake of just to see what these guys' contracts are like, to see where that came from. Meaning, like, Otani's making a shit ton of money just with his salary, but any and every company that has money is asking him, hey, we'll give you $2 million to wear this or to do this and stuff like that. So I think it'd be kind of cool to see a breakdown where it was like, you know, 7 million of it came from all his sponsorships and the rest came from his salary or what that looks like. I
Yeah.
don't think anybody would give a shit like I do, but I just think that'd be kind of cool. Just because like a lot of these guys, like, not to switch sports, but like soccer, right? I'm huge on that. Like these guys don't make as much per year like they do in America,
Yeah.
but they are so stupidly rich from all of like the agreements, endorsements,
Yeah.
and sponsorships that they do. So I think it'd be kind of fun just to see like how much Ohtani makes from sponsorships and endorsements alone, and how much he was taken from that. Because like again, a company may have approached him, been like pretended to be Ohtani, and then was like, "Yeah, you got to give us $2 million." And then he went to Ohtani, and was like, "Dude, you got another contract for $1 million." Pocketed the other million, gambled it away. It'd be kind of cool. I don't know. It'd be kind of fun to break that down.
That kind of it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
To know how I am with my finances.
Yeah.
And then to be missing $16 million.
Yeah.
What?
If I'm missing 16, I'm going, hey babe, did you if you got something, that's fine, just tell me. But like if I'm missing 16, but 16 million, I'm going, no, something's not right here. Yeah. Dude, I saw so the Padres guy, this might be slightly wrong, so I apologize. I'm just quoting here, but they released the tweet that he had placed like 900 something bets, like on either his team winning or losing, or like prize picks and stuff like that, where it's like you can bet like they'll have like more or less than 1.5 hits in a game.
He wasn't
like
just winning. He wasn't just betting winners and losers. He was betting like amounts of hits and triples and doubles, and so and so is going to get be 3 out of 5, and just crazy bets.
So they said that out of like 900 some bets, he got like 20 right. And somebody was like, if I made 900 bets and got 20 right, I might jump off of a building. Like, that's so bad, and
so
like
just degenerate.
I know, and I there's that little part of me that does try to remember. It's like gambling is an addiction, and it's hard. Like my great grandmother had it, and we make jokes about it. And I have a story for you, but like she lost probably $27,000 playing bingo. As like an 80-year-old, like, and it is an addiction. And so I get that part, but at the same time, there'd be a little part of you if you're going, I've placed 100 bets, I've got one right, I should just call it quits while I still have but they can't.
That's the addict. It's like, well, the next one
and the next one. Yeah,
I'm gonna get the next one.
I bet a lot of gamblers are this close to quitting, and then they get one.
Oh yeah,
and then they're like,
I'm sure,
fuck yes, and then they're like ready to go. And because that's so I do prize picks, and I bet the way it works is you can pick up to 4 players individually. So I took the Western Conference Finals, where it was the Mavs versus the Timberwolves, and I picked 3 guys for like points and points plus rebounds or whatever it was, and I bet $50. I got all of them right. I won $250. So I just placed another one, and I was like, well, I'll just put 100 because I have it, and that's where I try to be as conscious as possible, where that shit can roll downhill and get really bad. But I know the trick where they say if you walk into a casino and like your budget's like $100, put 100 on the first thing you do. If you lose it, go home.
That's what I do. I might as well just light it on fire and just watch it smoke up, evaporate into the air. Because me gambling or betting on it, it's just money donated to everyone else.
Yeah, and I just so I'm getting married in like 3.5 weeks, right? And I had my bachelor party a couple weeks ago, and Vegas was on the table. And other than the obvious of my fiance not liking that, I didn't. I was also like, hey, maybe we shouldn't, because I knew how I am, and I'm like, I'm on the bachelor trip. Let's just have fun. I would have spent at least $5,000 there, and I couldn't have done that with everything we could have picked for the wedding. So I was like, boys, let's just take that one off the table. We can't. I was like, I can't do that. I just can't. I would have.
Instead of flowers, it was just a flower at your
Yeah.
wedding.
Yeah. Every table has one daisy. Like we show up, we go,
that you picked up on the road trip
yeah,
to your.
yeah. We go through fields, we see all the dandelions that have bloomed. We go pick these and
Yep,
just
you
put
get
them
all
in the middle. Yeah, dude. This wedding stuff it's exciting, but I'm at the point where I'm just ready for it to be over with. But anyway, yeah, gambling is a bad thing to bring that back all the way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ohtani's salary, though, have you paid attention to his salary? What he's doing?
Mm-mm.
$680 million.
Over how many years? Like 13 or 12 or
10 years. No, I'm sorry. People, somebody might know better. He's getting paid he's only getting 10%.
Oh my God, I think I know. I think I did see that.
It's some, oh man,
It's
I had it, but now it's gone.
It's almost the same as the Bobby Bonilla contract.
Bonilla and
Yeah.
Max
Verstappen.
no. We'll get there.
Yep. Not Scherzer?
Yeah, Max Scherzer
Yeah.
with the Nationals, the contract he had with them, where it was a 14-year contract, but he was only under contract for 7 years.
Mhm.
And then the back half of the 7 is way backloaded,
Yeah.
and he can be at home sitting on his ass making
Yeah.
14 mil a year or whatever
Yeah.
he's making.
Yeah.
So I believe it's 10 years with the Dodgers,
Mhm.
but he's getting paid until like 2043 or something.
Guys that do that, I think, are just geniuses.
Yeah.
The Bobby Bonilla one was unique only because they literally couldn't pay him. But the guys that set their contracts up were like he didn't set it up this way. He just lived his life. But Gronk did something similar, where every single dollar he got from his salary just went straight to investments and savings.
Well, that's just being smart with your money.
That's what I mean, though.
Yeah.
It's like setting up your contract to where it's like, okay, I'm supposed to make 600 some million over the next 10 years. Just pay me, you say it like it's cheap change, but it's like pay me 100 million over that course of the 10 years, and then pay me however much, 25 million for the next 35 years every year. Crazy smart. Because you literally could just never do anything ever again. If he fulfills his contract like 3 years in, I'd retire. I don't give a shit.
And that's the thing about baseball money is it is guaranteed from the time the ink dries on the contract.
Yeah.
He could get hurt. He could break his foot.
Yep.
He could RG3, just completely fall apart.
Yeah.
And go home and sit. And that money is guaranteed.
I love how you threw RG3 under the bus there, but I get what you mean. Yeah.
Well, man,
Yeah.
I mean,
who was he was a shortstop for the Angels, or maybe still is. Damn
I
it.
think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Who's been sitting at home for 3 years now? Is that
It's not Rendon?
Yes,
Is that his
Anthony
name?
Rendon.
I
Yes.
think he had one where it was like 9 years, 200 some million. And I think in the last 3 years, I think they said he's played like 40 games, which in baseball terms is nothing.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like
Like
a quarter of one season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like that. I genuinely don't understand those contracts. I get it from the player's standpoint because you're guaranteed for life, obviously. But like as a GM, I'm like, I'll take a guy for 3 years, 60 mil, over paying someone for 10. Because in 7-8 seasons, like we saw what happened with Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
Because I think him or Trout was kind of the first one to have one of those 10-year.
Pujols kind of set that new benchmark for those long-term big money contracts.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Of trying to be, like the franchise guy long, and the fact that he was already 29, 30, whatever he was.
Yeah.
I think he retired when he was
38, 39, something.
Nah, I think he was in his 40s, which is old. He was already considered old by baseball when he signed a 10-year deal, $240 million.
Yeah.
And everyone just looked at him like, yeah, sure, he's a good hitter, but
yeah,
$240 million good hitter? I don't think so.
And the way he played it was like the first 5 years, they were like, this was worth it. And then the last 5 years, he hit like 230. and
limped around the
yeah,
bases every
exactly.
time he hit something.
They were lucky that they were in the AL because I
Yeah.
know I have they changed that DH rule to NL yet or
Yeah,
no?
they did, and it's
Okay.
freaking stupid. I hate it.
Yeah, but either way, he was lucky that he was in the AL because worst comes, to worse, he could just be the designated hitter and they have
Yeah.
someone else at
And
first.
that's
But
what he
like,
was for 7
yeah,
years of his career.
I will say I hated him for a long, long time because my dad grew up in Illinois. So for context, I grew up near Boston. So Boston teams are my first teams, and Chicago, not White Sox, so the Cubs are my second team
Mhm.
because that's who my dad likes. So I just watched games with him on WGN growing up. Hated Pujols because he was with the Cardinals
Mhm.
and just torched the Cubs every time.
Mhm.
So, and then the older he got, I was like, all right, he's fine. But I will say one of the coolest things was the home run that put him in what, like sixth place or fifth place?
Yeah, something like
I
that.
don't know where he is on the list, but it was a monumental, like he just moved up from this position to this position in the top 10 of the all time home run
Mhm.
list. He did it at Ranger Stadium and I was there.
Oh,
And
yeah,
that was
okay.
really cool. Like
Yeah.
Ohtani hit a home run, Trout went yard, and Pujols went yard in a single game. And Pujols was like to get fifth all time or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, but yeah, I don't get why teams in general do those contracts. I just don't think they're worth it in the long haul. Hell, I'd be more open to giving them like 2% of the like equity
Yeah.
over like guaranteed money over 10 years where in 6-7 years it's going to fall down. And then you're going, well, shit, we still got to pay him $280 million for a guy that's batting 200.
Yeah,
So,
that's Ohtani's contract. He's only taking
yeah,
$2 million a year salary
yeah,
for I think it's 7 years, 5 to 7 years, something like that. And he's only getting paid 2 million only. He's getting paid 2 million bucks over the next couple years.
yeah.
And then it's something like $68 million a year for 10 years.
It's so crazy.
It's
That's
ridiculous.
so crazy. You're going,
Okay, wait. It's coming back. He got a big signing bonus. I think he got like 68 mil up front on a
okay.
signing bonus. And then I think he's 5 years at 2 mil a year.
Hmm.
And then it increases to like 7 mil for a couple years. And then it's something like 34 million until the end of time.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Jeez. I mean, I
Ugh.
don't even want to say he's not good enough to earn that because he is.
No, absolutely
But
not. I'm not saying that, but just the logistics of a deal like that, I'm
yeah,
100% on board with you. I don't understand paying someone
yeah,
over paying an athlete that, again, in baseball money, like football money is one thing because
mhm,
while they advertise the dollar amount of the contract, that's the potential value of the contract.
yeah,
It's not always the guaranteed money.
right.
Guaranteed money in football is very, very, very small.
Yeah.
But baseball money, that's guaranteed money. He could walk out of signing that contract, trip over a door threshold, fall down, break both of his wrists, never play again. He's getting paid.
Still.
Still getting paid.
Yeah.
Where's my money? You didn't play a
Yeah.
single out. Where's
Here's my
my money?
Yeah, I think the NFL has done that well, where it's kind of based off of metrics, where it's
And
like
NFL and basketball both. Yep.
yeah, it's like they're like 6-year contract, 72 mil, and then always in parentheses it's like 30 guaranteed. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh,
Yeah, less than
got
half
it. Yeah.
guaranteed. And then these milestones, these, performance bonuses is what they
Mhm.
call it. And these,
Yeah.
these other awards, accolades, these things that you
Yeah.
get.
I think what I say most annoyed about, but what is annoying about the fact is that doing something like that would cripple probably 28 of the MLB clubs. But because it's the Dodgers, they're fine to do that until 2050. They'll
Mhm.
always have the income. And I do think there's a really big imbalance in baseball because of that. Because you look at teams like, and granted, one of the best sports movies of all time with Moneyball, you watch how the Athletics have run it. And that's because they've had to do it that way. But
Mhm.
that's why I think it's kind of an imbalance in where, again, kind of going back to soccer, that's where I think Europe thrives in the sense of not only I think they put caps on it, but also it's very very obvious when there's a team who has a shit ton of money and a team who doesn't. but you have to battle for every single minute of every game because it matters. Whereas teams like, like the Athletics or whoever else sucks now because I don't pay attention as much.
Yeah.
They just kind of write off every season. Like, let's get through this painful thing. Let's hope we get some good draft picks and,
That's
move,
been the
and
Pittsburgh
trade.
Pirates for 30 years. The
Yeah.
freaking guy that owns them does not give a shit about
Yeah.
owning the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
And
that's sad because they were really, really good in like the 2010s, like early when Andrew McCutcheon was like their star guy.
yeah, they kind of made a little run there.
I'll never forget. Probably one of the better seasons I've ever seen was the year before the Cubs won the World Series in 2015, and I remember it distinctly because the Cubs won 99 games and finished third and had to play that extra wild card game just to get to the wild card because the Pirates won 101 and then the Cardinals won 103. Like, that's insane. And they were so good, but I think that gets on my nerves when people who have that money that own sports teams like that are like, I'm just owning it as like an extra asset.
Yeah,
Whereas
it's just another thing in their portfolio.
Yeah, where if you have your average Joe who like genuinely lives and dies by the team, they're like, if I had that kind of money, I would take care of this because I know what it's like to be that fan.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I get a lot of the frustrations with some of the owners, and I'm now more so referring to European football, but I get it because like for some people this is like the only thing they really can look forward to on a weekly basis. And then when you have a guy who owns it who doesn't give a fuck, then you're going, what are you doing here? And he's like, well, I'm just making a little bit of extra money. It's like, oh, sorry, I didn't know $4.3 billion wasn't enough for you to start with. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah. Like that one lady that owned the Reds for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever hear about her?
I don't think, was she pre or post, was it the Big Red Machine? Was that like with Pete Rose and Joe Morgan?
Way past. I mean, she owned them up until like 2012 or something.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
no,
she was. I forget her name, but she was a notorious cheapskate on everything that she possibly could.
Yeah,
she tried to like advocate to the league and all the things that if players were on the injured list, they didn't get paid. You're not playing, you don't get paid.
So stupid.
And, anything like seats that were broken in the stadium, they get worn out, they get broken, they get sun damage, whatever.
Yeah.
She'd just buy whatever she could find on eBay to replace. So the Red Stadium had like multicolored seats all over the yellow. Oh, they found some yellow ones. So there's some yellow seats out there. Oh, they found blue ones on sale. There's some blue, and just every single thing that she could possibly do to cut revenue or to cut expenses out of that stadium, she did.
Yeah.
And her general, I mean, she went through general managers like, 2 or 3 years, and then they'd be gone. And players was just around, and she just didn't care. She just didn't care.
Yeah.
For her, it's just another thing that she's just trying to extract money out of.
Yeah.
And finally, excuse me, when she relinquished control of the team through various devices, all the Reds fans are like, yes!
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't get it because they have enough money already. So I don't know why you're trying to say, hey, ticket prices are going from 30 to 35. And you're going like, oh, I didn't know an extra $40,000 a year was that important to a fucking billionaire.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
So you are extremely into soccer.
Yes.
So much so that you've put it on your body until the end of
time.
You.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. I don't think most Americans do. I don't. And
I just don't.
And here's what I will preface with this. I grew up absolutely hating it. I was, I couldn't stand it. I thought it was stupid.
So then what hooked you? What got you?
So when I first started watching it, it was around 2014, 2015. And it was just because I had some buddies who were like, yeah, I've been watching it like here and there. And one of my close friends, he's actually at my wedding. He's a big fan of a team in the league I follow too. And it was just kind of something to watch because I went to a military junior college to play baseball. And the only things that was there to do was work out, practice, play games, eat, and go to class. There's really no
That's all you should be
extracurricular.
doing at school.
Well, what I mean is like if I went to Auburn after junior college, and at
Uh-huh.
Auburn it's like there's a lot more clubs and there's a lot more extracurriculars. I'm not even talking about going out drinking because I really didn't do that a lot.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was just I
A
more
lot
so
more
meant.
stuff to do.
I'll put it this way: the school I went to, we had a Subway, a Hardee's, and those were our fast food options.
Okay.
That's what I mean. Like so, going from a 400 count junior college to like a university, right? Like
Yeah.
there's just so much more to do. So when I was at that junior college, it was just something else to kind of have on and to kind of keep your mind off of like what else was going on like through school. And so I just started watching it. And the reason it changed for me was because I just didn't understand the sport. And I
So you
just
just
got,
wanted to learn.
yeah, I just kind of had the mindset where I was just like, oh, all they do is pass it back and it's slow and it's boring. And then they go so crazy. I just don't get it. And I started watching it and it
That
just
part
makes
I
more
do
sense.
get. That
Yeah.
part, when they absolutely, I mean, the stadium shakes when
Yeah.
because they're, you could go, an hour and a half with no score, and then somebody finally scores. You just,
Yeah.
finally, that part,
Yeah.
I completely,
Yeah.
I get the excitement and the stadiums collapsing around the
Mhm.
world because they're jumping up and
Yeah.
down and going so nuts.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, I don't understand. And I can say the same thing about hockey, kind of about basketball too. It's just constantly in motion. They're just constantly
Mhm.
moving. I just can't
Yeah.
keep up with it. Whereas like
Yeah.
football and baseball, I understand because
Yeah.
there's a stopping point
Yeah.
and a starting point. There's a
Yeah.
stopping point and a starting.
Yeah.
My little monkey ass brain can keep up with stopping and starting, stopping and starting. But
Yeah.
when it's those fluid games like soccer, hockey, basketball, that's just constantly moving back and forth.
It's
And
hard.
then
Yeah.
randomly somebody's offsides. You're like, what? It looks the same that it did
Yeah.
5 minutes ago. What are you talking about? What's
Yeah.
offsides?
Yeah.
What does that
Yeah.
even mean?
Well, and again,
Everybody's all over the place.
that's exactly how I was. I was just like, there's so many guys out there, and the ball's going back and forth between 4 players for 8 minutes. I'm like, what are we doing? I'm like, why would you want to watch this? But the more I watched it, the more like, I guess, kind of analytical I got with it, and I
Okay.
looked at it more of a standpoint of why is this guy doing this? Why are they just doing that? Why is it going all the way back to the goalkeeper? And so once I understood the fundamentals of why, and I've started to like read books about it, like the history of it, and once you start to understand that, you're like, that's why they're passing it back. Because again, in soccer, it's very easy to be counterattacked. So a lot of the time, the whole purpose and goal is you're like, we want to hold on to possession because as soon as we turn it over, they got 4 guys ready to pounce, and we only have the 2 back there going, oh shit, what do we do now? And of course, that doesn't like happen like every other minute, but it's just like the kind of precaution where it's like, there's no need for me to make this 40-yard pass across 4 players because they're just going to intercept it, boom, and just go straight.
Yeah.
And then I'm running with my tail tucked between my
which has
my
always
butt,
which has always been my point about those kinds of sports,
Mhm.
where the coaches will always say in like the post-mortem interview or whatever about that we tried to set up the play, we were designing the play,
Yeah.
type thing. And I've always thought you can want to put your players in any position that you want to,
Mhm.
but you also have to respond to where the other players are.
Right.
And so you can want your players to be positioned on the field in this thing because you have this plan, and go back to every basketball movie you've ever seen where they're drawing the lines and they're
Yeah,
drawing the
yeah, yeah.
lines,
Yeah.
But if that's not where the other players are, then that's not where your players are going to be. And so you might as well not even design a plan and just see what happens, man.
Well, yeah, but then and then again, that's the beauty of it is because like you kind of go into it with a game plan, and then sometimes shit hits the fan, and you just have to adapt.
Toss the marker board in
Yeah.
the crowd. Just here you go.
Yeah. But and it's just like it really is the beautiful game, just because it's like you have to adapt every other minute because again, it's like you're always having to change. And I like that kind of stuff where it's like you're kind of watching like, can we do this? Can we do this? And then something happens, and you're like, oh. Well, and something actually starts to grow from like what you've been doing. And you're like, I see what they were doing now.
Yeah.
And the whole point of all those movements is to get those guys out of position. Because for the most part, if we want to phrase it this way, and for whatever Europeans would ever listen to this, but I'm sorry, it's almost like when you're in your position in football, it's like you're constantly playing zone defense. This is your area. If it comes in here, go.
Yes,
If it's
yeah.
gone, go back and just kind of follow the path. And so I don't know. I just the more I watched it, the more I became obsessed with it. It helped that the team I picked had two players that I loved and played together really well. So it was fun watching like, them click and play together. And it just was, it absolutely hooked me. And then probably the peak for me was COVID for obvious reasons, because they paused but still had their season going on. But
Okay.
there was just like nothing else happening. And so they kept on, like, they took a month and then kept on playing. And that was really, I think, for a month, maybe even 2 months, I think maybe the only sport activity that was going on. And so I just watched it all through COVID, and it was just, yeah, I love it, and I want to try to play it because I've never played it before.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just, it's really hard to describe other than once you start going to matches and, watching it a little bit more consistently and understanding why certain players are doing certain things. Plus, you get to cuss at a TV for 90 straight minutes like that. It's kind of like a release almost. It is. It is. You have a shit week at work. You go home. You're like, at least I hope my team plays well. And then if they don't, you just get to scream at the TV and go, well, there goes my weekend, and
Well,
do it all
that's
over again.
every sports fan
But
ever.
if they win,
if you win,
dear
you
God,
drink.
yeah.
If you lose, you drink more.
My fiance has said, she was like, I really hope Tottenham wins. I'm like, you're only saying that so I'm in a good mood. She goes, I know. It's like
Thanks,
my
babe.
team is Tottenham Hotspur. They're in North London, but yeah, she's now like, she watches the games with me and she finds them not as interesting, but she gets why I find it so interesting. So
Yeah.
again, I think it's more of just, you ask a European to watch like a Seattle Mariners versus an Oakland Athletics like regular season game, they're gonna go, "What the fuck am I watching? This
Yeah.
is so boring." But
100%. Baseball is boring.
but introduce them to something exciting where you're like, "Hey, this is the Red Sox versus Yankees, 2004 playoff. Like, watch this,"
Yeah.
and then they're going, "I see the excitement around it," and then. So that's what it was, like for me. It was just I had to get hooked, like by actually watching it a little
Sure.
bit, and then I did, and it's just, yeah, I'm obsessed. Like, I'd love to work for one of the teams over there, like just doing something like it'd be, yeah, I love it.
I've tried. I've even gone to the Frisco Stadium and seen.
FC Dallas.
Yeah, and a friend of mine gets season tickets every single year, and every once in a while,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I can't make this game.
Yeah.
y'all want to go or whatever. And so I think I've been to two games, maybe three. It's fun.
Yeah.
Hockey games are so much fun. Mavericks games are so much fun. I love being there, like in the
Yeah.
stadium. NASCAR is also really freaking fun
For a lot of reasons.
for a lot of reasons. But all of those things are also boring as shit to watch
Watch on
for
TV,
me.
yeah.
Because again, I don't get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I've tried.
Yeah.
And I grew up with friends who are obsessed with hockey.
Mm.
They got season tickets every single year from the time we were in high school up until now. Currently, they're probably losing their minds right now. I haven't talked to them in a while,
Yeah.
but they probably are.
Because that Stars just lost to the Oilers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And so going to games with them and literally sitting down, and this not getting up and doing the fan thing, sitting
Yeah.
down like, okay, explain this to me.
Yeah.
Help me understand offsides.
Yeah.
Because there's people all over the place here.
Yeah.
Who's offsides with what? What is
Yeah.
it? Well, you can't have two people on the wrong side of the line and the puck and the yellow line and the one behind the net. It's like, no.
Yep.
Just go have fun.
Yep.
I'll just sit here and drink beer.
Do you know the offside rule in hockey?
No,
or
I have no
okay.
idea.
Okay. The most
Get it.
the most simplistic way I can put it, right? This goes for soccer and for hockey. They're just different ways of doing it. So hockey, the blue lines.
Yep.
Okay. That is, let's just say that's this one team's attacking zone. They're trying to score on that side.
Uh-huh.
The puck has to cross their attacking blue line before any player can go into that zone. And what that does is it helps not just one guy go, I'm down here, guys. And then they get the puck, shoot it down to him, and he's just like standing in front of the goalie. And it's the same concept with soccer where the last defender, an attacking player, can't be past him before the ball is kicked. So if the ball's, it's not that hard. It's look, if listen.
Here's what's hard. In constant motion.
That's why you got to pay attention. I think, folks, what we're learning here is it's hard for Daniel to pay attention to things.
It's hard for me to keep up. That's why I said my little monkey ass little brain
Yeah.
is this little thing, this little monkey on a
Yeah.
drum, but it can stop and then it can start again, and that's the beautiful thing about football is,
Yeah.
hey, everybody has to be still. You can't
Yeah.
move. Don't move. Don't even flinch a
Yeah.
freaking finger. Nope.
Yeah.
Go.
To be fair, maybe that's why more people, at least in America, like NFL football over European football. Because, like you said, in soccer, it's like
Most of us are dumb.
until the 45th, not dumb, but stupid, maybe. But no, just
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah.
But until the 45th minute in soccer, right? It's like the ball is just going, going, going. Whereas, like in football, it's like you get a commercial, great, I can go pee, or like I can go grab another beer or snack, come back. Okay, where's this next play? Cool. Oh, someone texted me. Okay, I haven't missed anything. And in soccer, it's like there's been times where it's like I'll go get up and pee, come back, and the other team we're playing celebrate, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And they just scored, and I got to watch the replay, and I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
So I can understand that,
and that's admittedly baseball too. It is so boring. It's always on. There's 1,400 games a day, and I can just turn it on the TV, and then I can go outside for 3 hours. So I can come back and take a break. Oh, that game's over. All right, next game.
Yeah.
I can just look and see. It's just familiar, and it's just on, and you can just kind of keep up with who's doing what, and then all the scores of every 1,400 games, that they play every day is scrolling across the bottom of the screen, and you can see who's doing what, and you're like, oh, the Red Sox lost 4 in a row.
Great,
cool.
Yeah. Like, look,
what are the Orioles doing?
Yeah, and like I said, for me, it took a long time because like I called it a pansy sport. So I was like these guys flopping and crying and all that stuff.
Shit is.
But again, you watch it and then you kind of understand why they do that, and you're like, they're trying to get an advantage for your team. You don't have to like it, It's like the very typical like
I understand
that's a guy you hate but would love to be on your team because he's a little shit house kind of guy. You know what I mean? So it took me a long time to get into it, but now it's just like the Euros are coming up, which is the dumbest way I can explain it. Is like the World Cup, but only for European countries.
Okay.
And that's every 4 years. That's coming up. I couldn't be more excited. I have nothing to do with anything in Europe, but like there's going to be 3 matches a day for 2.5 weeks straight. It's like Germany versus Finland. Do I give a shit about either of those? Germany a little bit because that's my heritage, but I don't like follow them. Yeah. But it's just going to be fun, like just to kind of have like on in the background, and probably get in more trouble for listening to it, but that's okay.
That's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. But you want to talk about boring. I know you might have gone on to a new subject, and we will in a second. You want to talk about fucking boring Monaco this year. Dear God. I watched it to say I watched my first Monaco race. I wish I didn't.
I didn't watch this year's. I have watched races in the past.
Dude, it's
very technical. I get it. It's special.
It's iconic.
It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I get it. I get it. But in terms of
actual racing,
racing, and because once you make that first probably 2 turns,
you're there
of what I'm thinking. That's the race.
Yep.
I mean,
so the worst part about this year for me was we lost power the day of the race.
Oh.
And so, so we lost power. I turned my hotspot onto my phone and streamed it on my laptop. First lap, Hulkenberg, Magnussen, Perez.
Yep.
Massive wreck. I'm like, they're like, yeah, they're going to start cleaning this up. Cool. I wasted 45 minutes of my hotspot for them to clean it up and then restart the race for nobody to pass anybody for the rest of the fucking race.
Yep.
They reset it. They started again. It was that for 70 laps. And I was like, I just wasted 90% of my battery.
Hard to pass.
Yeah. The only saving grace it has is these new cars in 2026. Because what they're saying is that they're going to, I believe they said it's going to be
shorter,
8 centimeters or 10 centimeters shorter, and also 10 centimeters thinner,
narrower.
Yeah, because if you look at the cars that they ran in the 90s, like with like Art and Senna, right? Like that,
they kind of look like go-karts almost.
Right.
They look like
those cars. Like you could get in battles on those tight streets.
Those are like tight, F2 or F3 cars now. They kind of get the older generation style cars.
Yeah.
They're going back to
these new cars. They're so massive, you just can't do anything. So I don't know if you're about to talk about anything else, but I just want to point that.
Well, I was saying, let's talk about it.
I wasted my hotspot. It was so boring, dude. So yeah. Did you see Max's interview after?
Uh-uh.
It's hilarious. I might show you after, but the reporter was like, Max, you finished sixth, obviously not where you want to be. Like, how was that race? And he goes, how was it for you? And she was like, what do you mean? He goes, boring, right? And then, and then, and then what's even better, George Russell was right next to him. And he goes, George, how was that for you? And he was like, oh, dude, that was borderline painful. He was like, you and I got a little close. And they started like bantering back and forth. But he was like, we got a little close. And he's like, yeah, I was a little worried about my tires, but not really. He goes, yeah, yeah. So boring, like right back at the camera, and I was, it was so funny, but spot on. Like, it
I
was
reset
great.
all my banking passwords.
Yeah. Dude, Max is a fun. You know who he looks like? Sid from Ice Age. They do this every year. He's like, they left me. They do this every year. That's what he looks like.
Oh, shit.
God, I saw somebody make a meme about that. I'm like, that's never ever going away because it's so.
I missed
good.
that one. Oh
Yeah.
my God, he does.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great, dude. But I'm
Man.
very excited for this upcoming season because this is the first season I've really been into F1.
Yeah, you kind of just got into it, right? You
Yeah.
caught up on all
Yeah.
the Netflix shows, and because
Yeah.
I think I caught on to it in season 3. I think. Yeah, I've at least watched the last 2 full seasons
Yeah.
when they came out, but probably season 3, and then I just I'm always busy. I'm always a
Yeah.
busybody, so I try to keep. I've got the app back on my phone.
Nice.
The
Good.
first time I put the app on my phone, I couldn't turn the notifications off, and so every single
Thing,
reporter and news story and race results and it was just ding 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 ding.
You can just change that in your settings.
Oh no, that's the thing.
They can override
It
those.
wouldn't turn off, and so I deleted it.
Wait, are you an iPhone or Android?
Android all the
there
way?
You fucking go. That's why.
Yeah,
Androids are.
yeah.
You know, iPhones make up like 81% of smartphones. Catch up, dude.
In America, because not
Maybe not.
worldwide.
Yeah. Maybe
It's
not.
like
Yeah.
3 billion to 300 million.
That might even be
You'll get there
opposite.
one
Yeah,
day, son.
Yeah.
And not to mention, Apple is even changing to Android's messaging platform.
Oh God, that's just
Yeah.
it's just gonna be all green now.
No. They're
Good,
keeping
good.
the colors for all you.
Did you? Again, we're getting so off topic. Did you see?
There is no topic.
Yeah, it's fair. I swear this is true. A prime minister, a cabinet member, somebody in Europe tried to pass a law in regards to like it's more technical than this, but it was like that how we need to stop being mean to people who don't have iPhones because you text people and it's like it's green and you go ugh. And she literally was like trying to pass something where it's like people who have Androids get bullied, and you're just like, what is going? This is what we're doing with our tax dollars.
Even
now.
one of our own congresswomen here in the United States tried to pass a similar piece of legislation that.
Maybe it was like Pelosi or somebody who was trying to do that.
No.
She's not smart enough.
No, it was somebody else.
Sorry.
Yeah, but
Yeah. And then maybe it was here, but yeah, I saw that and I was like, I'm just gonna go to jail because I'm not paying taxes anymore. If that's what my fucking tax dollars are going to, is creating these genius bills for this shit. Anyway,
so if anyone's wondering, no good deed goes unpunished.
You got in a fight.
I got in a fight with
Mother Nature.
Yeah, with Mother Nature. So here in Dallas last week, we had some record rainfall and storms, which I think I'm waiting on the numbers to come out, but I think that last month was the wettest month ever in the history of Dallas.
Yeah.
And I would believe it. But I had a couple neighbors call and say that they were trapped in their driveways because trees had fallen down and been split in half, and other trees looked like they were peeled like bananas all over my neighborhood. That close to looking like a tornado came through.
Yeah.
And I know you had something happen too. So I went and cut down some trees. And fun fact, I was not allergic to poison ivy growing up.
You are now, though.
I am now.
Wow.
So on my 25th birthday, we went camping, me and some friends, and spent all weekend out in nature, drinking a lot of beer and hanging out, and
As you would, yeah.
yeah, as we should. And
Yep.
then I woke up. I think it was on a Sunday or no, it was not a Sunday. It was like a Monday or Tuesday. We were coming back to town. I woke up and the side of my head was inflamed and red.
Ugh.
I couldn't see out of one of my eyes.
You're
My
making
hand was all jacked up, all down the side of my body. And so I wrapped everything up in the tent bag, threw it in the back of my truck, and hauled ass back into Dallas to go to the doctor's office. Called him on my way, told him I'm coming in. Something's really wrong.
Yeah.
Something happened. I don't know what. So I get there, get to the doctor, sitting on the table. He comes in. I love my doctor. He just comes in and he goes, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, this man,
Look at
all of
me.
this. And he
Yeah.
said, "Well, it's poison ivy." I said, "Oh no, I'm not allergic to poison ivy." He said, "Well, you are now." I said, what do you
Wow.
mean? He said, "Well, if you're exposed to something long enough, eventually you become allergic to it. Eventually your body will have a reaction to it."
Interesting.
Man, I did Cub Scouts. I did Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
I was this close to being an Eagle Scout.
Mm.
I did all these camps and all this outdoor stuff my whole life. I went camping with my dad, other friends every single summer in the winter, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what this stuff looks like.
Yeah.
I didn't pay attention to it as a kid because
It didn't
I
bother
wasn't
you.
allergic to it.
Yeah. That's very interesting, though.
And then last Thursday, so I cut all the trees down on Tuesday, trying to get, help neighbors out and stuff. And then Thursday, I'm like picking at my arms and kind of scratching. And then Friday, I wake up and it looks like I'm freaking Freddy Krueger. And
Yeah. Dude, getting poison ivy is like, you're making me itchy. And I think I told you that the other day too. You showed it to me and I was like, ugh. But dude, getting poison ivy is like one of the worst. Like the simplest of things make you so self-conscious of what you're meaning, like not to be whatever, but like I had gotten it real bad, like on my wrist one time. It was so hard to go number 2 and wipe because I didn't want to wipe it all down my side. So I'm like trying, it's just like little things that you don't ever think about. Then you get it and you like go, oh crap. And it's just like having to do that. And then like you just want to start scratching at it and stuff. And yeah. So then you have to change your answer to that old riddle. I say riddle, but it was just like a would you rather. Like I grew up, there was one where it was like, would you rather be facing a bear in the woods or roll around naked in poison ivy? And so like,
poison ivy.
yeah, well, so that's what I mean is like I knew people who weren't allergic. They're like, I'd rather do that, and I'm like, I would die, and they're like, well, you're gonna die the other way, and I'm like, but I'm not doing it the poison ivy way, and so yeah, you used to be able to do that, now you can't. That sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of a bear attack, I saw a guy on Instagram. He documented on his phone. He recorded being attacked by a bear
recently
recently enough that it
Yeah.
came up in the feed. And
God,
you want to know what saved him? He had a can of bear spray, and he said he saw the mama grizzly bear, and he's fumbling to get it out of his pocket, and by the time he gets it out, the bear's on him.
ugh.
And said he rolled over in fetal position, curled up, this and that. Bear's tossing him around, biting his leg, and then he screamed so loud when the bear bit his foot that she came for his head, and he curled up and put the can of bear spray, it was in his hand, curled up like this to cover his face. The bear bit the can of bear spray. It exploded in her mouth, which pissed her off and scared her, so she ran
Yeah.
away. This dude had to hike 2 miles through the woods.
Oh my God, dude. Bears, dude. They're one of those animals where it's like I think they're so cool, but they freak me.
They're
the fuck
cool
out.
way over there.
Way over there,
Way over
yeah.
there. Cool. You stay there.
They're beasts, and they just don't give a shit. Like I
Ugh.
pray that I would never ever be in a situation. If I come across a bear, I'm shitting my pants. If I come across cubs,
Run.
dude, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You're just 100% screwed. Have you ever watched the show Alone on Netflix?
No, I've seen it. I've seen like the ads and stuff for it, but I've never watched
It's a very good show, but there was one where they were like in grizzly bear country. And there is a guy who I think like in the span of like 5 days came across like 9 bears, all grizzly bears. He almost ran out of flares because he was just shooting at them, like trying to make it explode. And like, because he literally would aim at them and then just go like just a little bit. So it would pop like right above their heads.
Yeah.
And there was one that had to have been at least 1,500 pounds. And he
Ooh.
was on the shore and he was fishing and he caught a few. So I'm guessing the bear smelled it and he's recording it on his GoPro because they give him like 4 GoPros and
Uh-huh.
that's it.
Uh-huh.
So he had it on his chest and you just see this thing. Me and my fiance laugh, but he was going, "No bear," and I'm like, "That's not gonna do a fucking thing. No
You're just
bear."
making
Like, what is
yourself a
it?
dinner
Yeah,
bell for a bear.
and he fired a flare and it popped and the bear went
Oop.
and just kept walking. And I was like,
Shrugged.
no, 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 no. I'd be calling, be like, guys, I'm not quitting, but please come here. I'm about to die.
You
Like,
know,
dude, it
and
was
then
crazy.
there's some people who can yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to call it. They manage them, they deal with them, whatever you want to call it. They have a
Oh,
relationship
yeah.
with them where they just,
Yeah.
hey, and they'll smack a bear on the head. Hey,
Yeah.
don't do that. And the
Yeah.
bear will like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, sir.
Yeah.
My sister went to she went on a cruise and then some kind of expedition to Alaska. And then she went on a cruise to Alaska and then they got on like a truck and they drove into the wilderness and
Hmm.
into
Yeah. Yeah.
deep into the wilderness. No roads, no nothing. And they were up on this deck, the way that she explained it, it was like a lower level living space, but then kind of like a rooftop deck thing.
Mm.
And there's a grill up there, and a host is grilling food or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's open. They're all drinking. They're looking over the edge of the thing at the vast expanse of wilderness. And here comes a bear paw up over the railing.
Nope.
And this dude has a grill spatula in his hand. He just goes, hey. And the bear's just, oh, sorry. And just climbs back down the post and walks.
What in the
I
world,
think he had
dude?
a name for him. It's called
Oh my
Charlie
God.
or whatever. No, Charlie. Yeah.
Oh my
And
God.
then he took something off the grill and like flipped it,
Mhm.
off the edge. And the bear's just coming back down the post. No big deal.
Well, then maybe he's
Okay.
just got to the point
See you
where he's
later.
like, I know this is my guy. He's going to give me a little bit of
Yeah,
food. I'll leave him
that's my
alone then.
point.
You know?
Whereas I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
bear.
Yeah. Dude, have you seen that Impractical Joker's punishment?
Which one?
The bear one. You never seen that one?
Not that one.
So they put Sal in a completely open, like it was basically a mini jail, but like safe enough for bears to not get in, you know. And they put him in it to where they put cardboard on all 4 sides and then put him in a cage with like 5 grizzly bears in a zoo. And they were dude, the guys were standing like on a lookover and and he's sitting there, he's like, guys, what am I doing here? And then you just see like the bears are walking up and Sal doesn't know. And one of the bears goes like on the side of the thing and the cardboard goes, and he's just staring like from me to you because it's a small cage from 2 grown ass grizzly bears and
Just-
and it's perfect
Just wetness.
perfect Sal form. He's going, oh
If I
my
smell bad
God.
enough, they
Yeah.
won't want me.
Well, the funniest part was they said, here's your punishment. You have 2 KFC buckets under you. Just stick them. They said, just take the KFC chicken, just put it through so they can eat it. They go, when you've put all of them through and they've eaten it all, we'll get you out of there. And so he's doing it.
Dude, I'm
brother,
starting to sweat.
brother, as he does it, at one point, like the film kind of cuts to where it's like one of the off cameras, not even one of the main ones. There are 2 bears kind of like picking out the side of the things. They go at it for like 4 seconds, like full on, like go crazy. And Sal's like shaking. And all the guys took a step back and were like, maybe we shouldn't joke.
We made a mistake.
Like the 3 guys were like, let's not joke. Make sure he's okay. Okay, screw you, Sal. This is still fun. Dude, it was crazy. And so he got done. And then, of course, at the very end, they started throwing chicken at him like from a butt. Dude, it was.
I'm so uncomfortable right now.
It is so funny. I'll have to send you the video because it's one of the best ones they've done. Yeah.
With I think I'm good.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
All right. See y'all later. Dude, fuck that. Fuck that.
Yeah. Bye, guys.